Josh Hart will never rest in a game again. The Knicks just took game 1 of the series against the Indiana Pacers, and there was a lot of controversy around this game, which I am going to discuss a bit in this video, but we got to highlight some of the good things that happened and not just talk about the controversies. Because guess what? Did you see Josh Hart last night? I mean, all year he's been doing this. When the Knicks traded for Josh Hart, I literally said, this was like the best thing the Knicks could have ever done. Josh Hart is one of the best, rebounders as a guard, forward, and just in general. And look what he's doing now as a rebounder. I believe they said he's averaging 12.3 rebounds in the playoffs. And that was during the game yesterday, and he got like 17. So his average only went up. Josh Hart is 6'4". Okay, he's 6'4", and he's averaging more rebounds than some centers. That's insane. He crashes the glass like nobody else. I'm inserting a clip right here. Because first of all, they got Josh Hart, who could do so many things. He can defend. He's one of the best rebounders as a guard forward. He can shoot. He can do everything, and he's going to be a great addition to the Knicks. And how come he can keep doing this? It's the Mike and Ike's, baby. Josh Hart's really funny, too. If you've never watched him in a post-game press conference, you must, because he is must-see TV. This is real, by the way. Like, he legit got the Mike and Ike's, box with his face on it. So shout out to Josh Hart. Josh Hart literally did everything in that game. Everything you could have asked. Like, you could not have wanted more from Josh Hart. And of course, he doesn't rest anymore. He literally just plays the whole game now, like every game. It is kind of crazy that he doesn't rest and he still has all this energy every single game. It is kind of insane, but like he said, it's the Mike and Ike's, baby. Let's also talk about how well Jalen Brunson played, especially in the fourth quarter. He took over. He legit took over the game. Like, everybody can't just take over a game the way Jalen Brunson did last night. And he dropped his 4th straight 40-point game, which put him in company with, I believe, well, it was 40 points and 5 assists, which I believe was only... No, that's the only one by him, actually. He's the only one that has 40 points and 5 assists in 4 straight games. The 40-point stat for 4 straight playoff games, I believe, was Michael Jordan, Bernard King, and was LeBron on the list, or somebody else was on the list? I forgot who it was. But it was insane company that Jalen Brunson was joining. That's how well he has been playing. He's on these, crazy stats, and like I said, one of the stats is literally just him by himself. I don't think people understand what Jalen Brunson is doing right now. Now let's get to the 2 plays that were in question from last night. Now I want to say before I get into those 2 calls, my opinion right now could change in a different game with a different situation. Like, it just is what it is, Everybody's opinions change from time to time. So let's just be mindful, not just to me, but to other people who make opinions and comments. They are entitled to their opinion, and they are entitled to change their opinion over time. So I'll start with the Miles Turner one, since I just brought it up. I thought it was an illegal screen when it happened. Regardless of the timing of the game, if it's an illegal screen, it's an illegal screen. Now, did they call all the illegal screens in the game? Not necessarily. So that's where people are frustrated, and I understand that. The inconsistency, that's something I hate too. Like, if you're going to call it all the time. If you don't see it, that's a different story. So, people are saying the Dante DiVincenzo one was an illegal screen. I don't know if the ref saw it. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. So if the ref did see it and they ignored it and then they called the Miles Turner one, I can understand why people are upset. But if the ref didn't see it, because there's a lot going on, if you're a ref, you have to watch everywhere. So there's a lot of things to cover. So regardless, the Dante one or not, either way, the Miles Turner one was an illegal screen, in my opinion. And they came out and said it wasn't a legal screen, but it looked like one at first glance as well. And so, I didn't have a problem with it being called because it was an illegal screen. I know why people's arguments are it shouldn't be called because of the timing of the game, and the Pacers could have had a chance to, potentially win the game because they had the ball. There wasn't much time left. But if it's an illegal screen, it's an illegal screen. I don't really necessarily agree with because the timing of the game, you don't call it. If it wasn't a thing, it wasn't a thing. Or if it was a thing, it was a thing. The kickball one, we can all agree, it was not a kickball. So, that was a wrong call. We all see that. We all know that. but they called it and there really was nothing that could be done because it's not a reviewable play. Now, if you want to say that should be a reviewable play or it should be a challengeable play, you know, that's something that they can discuss for next year, making new rules and adjustments. But in terms of like that costing the Pacers the game, I don't agree with that. Because let's take it to the Minnesota versus Denver game. I have a perfect example as to why it doesn't make sense to say the Pacers lost this game because of these two calls. In the first quarter, Cat went at Jamal Murray. He was backing him down on what I thought, honestly, in the moment, was an offensive foul. So did many people, and they did not call it. This was in the first quarter. But you can't tell me that Denver lost the game because they didn't call the offensive foul. Like, they had the rest of the game to go. And so my point is, you can't say you lost the game on one call. There was 47 other minutes in the game where you needed to close it out. And the Pacers were leading majority of the game. They had the game in control. I just want to say I'm not coming at the Pacers at all because the Pacers actually handled it very classy. Like, I saw Rick Carlisle, his post-game conference. I saw what Miles Turner said a bit. I believe they both basically said, like, you know, it is what it is, and we just have to let it go and move on to the next game. I really didn't hear any of the Pacers complaining. And again, in the locker room, they can absolutely be like, that was so unfair that they called a kickball when it wasn't. They are definitely allowed to feel that way because it was a wrong call. But there's no point in sitting there and, you know, acting like we lost the game because of that call, because they were in control the whole game before that. And actually, that should give the Pacers motivation because they should feel like we literally had this game till the end. We just made some mistakes down the stretch. Otherwise, we could have won this game. And Halliburton didn't have a great game. So my point is, like, the Pacers are going to walk away feeling like we could have won this game. And although there were some bad calls for our team, we definitely had the opportunity to close it besides those two calls. Like, we could have won those regardless of those two calls. And I think for the Knicks, while the Pacers are going to, like I said, probably feel that way, or they should feel that way at least, like they had a chance to win. But oppositely, because the Knicks didn't blow them out, I feel like this actually gives the Knicks more motivation to be more locked in game 2, which may be a problem for the Pacers. Because although Jalen Brunson was amazing, Josh Hart was amazing, DiVincenzo was amazing, but I feel like the Knicks could go into game 2 and be like, hold on now, we barely beat the Pacers. We got to bring our A game. Like, sometimes when a team blows somebody out, they kind of, I don't want to say like don't take them seriously, the opponent, because it's still the playoffs, but you know what I mean? You're kind of like, you're feeling yourself a little bit because you blew them out and it wasn't even close, and you're like, oh, we can beat them, we're better than them. And then sometimes the other team comes out more aggressive. So I think the Knicks are actually going to be even more aggressive next game, and that's why I think it's going to be, might be a problem for the Pacers, because they don't have an answer for Jalen Brunson, and that's the problem. If you can't stop Jalen Brunson, you can't stop the Knicks. Like, they're going to win. And the Knicks, we know, are really good at defense. They're a really good defensive team. Mitchell Robinson is now out, which is a big loss for them. But I feel like this is more of a series for Precious Achiuwa anyway. So I don't know if they'll miss him as much in this series. Moving forward, most likely. But I feel like the Knicks, I really think they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I am happy for the Knicks, though, because we all know they were bad for so long. And it is exciting to watch them be good. And exciting to watch the fans go crazy. So, shout out to the Knicks, shout out to the Pacers. Both teams are playing very well. And let's see who wins the series, but I do think it is the Knicks. And if they do win the series, it is well deserved. Because look how they're playing. Look at Jalen Brunson. Look at Josh Hart. DiVincenzo. OG, he came up clutch in that game with a couple of steals. Shout out to the Knicks, honestly.